Hi everybody, this is Tim from Garden Hands. We've started collecting maple syrup, or collecting sap. We have boiled for 2 small days. We've got a couple of gallons made, and we were just going to go through and show you how we collect our sap. So the first thing we do is we get the trees tapped and hang the pails, which we've already done. And then we go out with our Kubota in a tank. And in the tank holds 110 gallons. So then we also have a funnel on top, which is an old milk house funnel from a milk bulk tank. It's got just a small metal disc inside that will filter out the bark, and that works fairly well for dumping a pail into. We have a step on our Kubota so we can step up. Let me grab a pail. So when you step up with a pail, it's pretty easy to dump it in without having to reach up and over. And this tank helps immensely over the one we had before. It's a lot lower, and it still holds that 100 gallons, like I said. So if you get 100 gallons, that's a load, or a big enough load for this vehicle. And if it's muddy, it's enough just in case you'd get stuck. We haven't been stuck yet, but there'll be a day when we get stuck. So once we back up to the shack with a load of sap, I keep calling it syrup. I wish it was syrup, it'd be easy then. Once we back in with a load, this gets hooked on real easy with a cam lock fitting, and there's a valve here for that. So this hose leads to the pump, and I have a valve here. So I can draw from our bulk tank or from this tank, and it goes into the pump. This hose next gets connected either to the tank inside, or we can connect this up here. If that tank is full inside, or if we aren't boiling right away, I'd rather keep it out here and keep the sap cool as long as we can. If you put it inside, it can warm up a little bit. So we'll put it to either place. So when it comes through this pump, it comes in on the white hose and in here, and right in this area here, we have to shorten this up just a little bit, but this filter, which unfolds and is hollow, and there's a spring inside of that keeps it that shape. This goes inside of this tube, so the sap that comes out of the tank has to go through this filter, the first thing, and we can change this every day, and they use these in the dairy business to filter milk. This will get out all the extra stuff. So we filter it here and just a little bit there, and then it goes in the tank, and we have one of these on the end of the tube inside of the tank, and we have one of these inside our head tank, or our holding tank inside of the sugar shack. And we also have a 80 mesh, a small cartridge filter in this line too. So we filter it as much as we can to make sure there's nothing in it except the niter that goes in that you get no matter what you do. So that's pretty much our process. And this electric pump is different this year. We had a little gas engine last year. So this is just from a milk house. Some retired dairy farmer had it, and we bought it on an auction. And this works real well. It's just a switch inside that we can stand right here and control in case we get close for the level on the head tank inside. That only holds about 65 gallons, so if we come in and we're full, we can't get it all in there. This has to go in at night. If it gets cold, we have to bring this into the syrup shed, and there's a small valve on the bottom that we can open up and just let that drain out so it won't freeze. And then we have one more valve in the middle of it where we can hook up an RO system to this. Eventually we will, when we get enough sap that we bring in. So far we haven't gathered very much for quantity per day. It's been running pretty slow. But this is how we get our sap to the syrup shed and put in whichever tank we've got room for it in. We're going to put some sap into our, what I call the head tank. So that's the tank that is our storage just ahead of the evaporator. So we've got room for 65 gallons there, and that will last us for 3 hours. So to do that, we've already hooked our hose up on the tank from the Kubota, and I hooked it up to the tube that goes up into the tank up there. So there's one other little filter here that you haven't seen yet, and we just hit this switch, and this will take a minute, Linz. Maybe. While this is pumping, it takes about, I would say, 4 minutes, maybe 5, something like that, 4 to 5 minutes to fill our head tank from this tank. So right now it's at 40 gallons in there. When that gets full, then we'll switch our hose around and put it into the bulk tank to finish up emptying this out. We anticipate some rain tonight or tomorrow, so we'd like to have everything emptied out, and we'll try and rinse this out with some water when we get done tonight. And then when we finish the bulk tank out, we'll rinse that a little bit, just to keep things so they don't get, so they don't give you problems later down the road. So we have about 30 gallons left that we're going to take from our Kubota, or from our small transfer tank, into the bulk tank for tonight, just to get the Kubota emptied out. And then we get where we boil about 20 gallons an hour, so we'll have about 4 hours of boiling to do tonight. So we'll be done by 10 o'clock, I hope. And then we'll wait to see what the weather does. Right now the wind is out of the east. Usually if the wind is out of the east, it doesn't run very good, and it's been too warm. It stayed warm last night, it didn't freeze. So we'll wait for the weather to kind of reset, and hopefully we get some cold nights or cooler nights, and then some warmer days, and we'll be able to start gathering again. So for now, thank you for watching. Remember to subscribe and hit that like button, and we'll be with you again in another day here when we do some more sugaring. Thanks.